Albert Einstein, world-famous physicist, and, at least for the last year of his life, a vegetarian. Let's take a look. Hello everyone, welcome back to Threpticon. Today we're going to talk about Einstein. And I've titled this presentation, A Last-Minute Vegetarian, and we'll see why. So who was Einstein, Albert Einstein? He was born in 1879 in Germany. He became a famous physicist, noted for many discoveries that were groundbreaking, such as general relativity, which is pictured below, this idea that somehow mass can change space and time, and other things about photovoltaic. I think he was important in the creation of advances in solar panels, things like that. All sorts of influential papers. But his thought, his philosophical thought, was influenced by pantheism. He talked about Spinoza and his idea of the divine in everything, in all of creation. Certainly humanism, which is a theme we've seen with a lot of thinkers, pro-vegetarian, vegan thinkers. And pacifism, right? He was committed to kind of stopping wars and conflicts around the world. He won the Nobel Prize, right, in physics in 1921, and then he died in 1955 in Princeton, New Jersey, in the United States. He expresses a guilt, so what I've called an omnivore's guilt. As he says, I have always eaten animal flesh with a somewhat guilty conscience. Right, so he's aware that it is a problem. We have another big quote here. Although I've been prevented by outward circumstances from observing a strictly vegetarian diet, I have long been adherent to the cause and principle. Beside agreeing with the aims of vegetarianism for aesthetic and moral reasons, it is my view that a vegetarian manner of living, by its purely physical effect on the human temperament, would most beneficially influence the lot of mankind. So what is this he's talking about? He was prevented by outward influences. Here's where I have my doubts. Maybe he means, a lot of these men we've seen, like I saw this a little bit with Isaac Bashevis Singer. It took him so many years to become a vegetarian because he was helpless, right? All these men in this time period were completely at the will of their spouse, right? They didn't touch food, they didn't cook, and they feel completely agentless, without any agency, about what they eat, which I find absurd, but it's true. Right, and he's saying in his heart he understands the principle of the thing, right? Besides agreeing with the aims of vegetarianism for aesthetic and moral reasons. Once again, a very perplexing quote. What does that mean, aesthetic reasons? Just because it looks good, it looks better? You're saying meat looks bad? That's how I interpret it. It is my view that a vegetarian manner of living, by its purely physical effect on the human temperament, and once again, it's almost like going back to medieval times, the idea about this influence on the humors that make, the diet influences your behavior. But I think I understand what he means, talking about that goal of pacifism, right? If you don't care about killing, innocent animals, well, you're not going to care about killing innocent people. I think that's his line of reasoning. Certainly pro-vegetarian, in this quote even shows it even more. Nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances for survival of life on Earth as much as the evolution to a vegetarian diet. And I think here he's hinting to this, once again, this idea of non-violence and peace as our best chance of surviving. However, he was a meat eater until the last year of his life, and he had some major health problems, such as liver ailment. A lot of them have to do with digestion and such. Liver ailment, stomach ulcer, inflammation of the gallbladder, jaundice. I mean, that's pretty serious if you have, your liver is so ill that you have jaundice. Intestinal pains. Then he went on the vegetarian diet only in the final year of his life, like I said. And here's what he says. He writes a letter to his friend here. So I'm living without fats, without meat, without fish, but I'm quite well this way. It always seems to me that man was not born to be a carnivore, right? And here, I've put some strawberries because this was considered one of his favorite foods, and he would eat them, from what I'm told, by the pounds when they were fresh, right? Um, so picture this is kind of, like I said, 1955, the beginning of the concept of sort of animal foods and saturated fat causing heart disease and therefore death. So he's avoiding meat, fish, and what he says without fat. So I'm picturing without butter, oils. I don't know. It doesn't make any mention of eggs or milk. He may have still continued to eat those. If not, it is more of a vegan style diet. But um, nonetheless, I'm not going to judge a man, if he lived his entire life, but the last year. Why can't I, you know, that last year counts. You know what I mean? I mean, the last year um, is a non, zero part of his life, let's say. So I think he deserves some credit for all this. Anyway, I've cited a couple works here, got the quotes. So here's my discussion question. The absent-minded theorist, not concerned with mundane aspects. That's what it seems to me. He's this guy, can't even be bothered to comb his hair, right? And we see this trend, this pattern with people in professions where they do a lot of thinking. They think they're very smart, as if this person, his or her mind, is concerned only with higher matters, right? World peace, physics, these kind of things. What you eat is too vulgar. At least that's my perception. Everyone can let me know what they think. All right. With that, I conclude. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.